So I've just got out of the cinema after watching Companion, and straight away this is my favourite movie of the year so far. Centred around Iris and Josh and the relationship that they have. We found out partway through the movie that Iris was a robot that Josh was paying a rental on because he was lonely. Following him tampering with her software, he made it possible for her to commit a murder so that himself and his friend Kat could walk away with a cut of $12 million from the victim, Sergey. However, things didn't quite go as smoothly as they thought it would, with deeper themes being addressed such as abusive relationships, power struggles, the evil nature that lies within human beings, and also the moral question around what defines living and a life. This movie had so many messages embedded within it, and I want to discuss each and every one of them. So if you're in for the ride, sit back whilst we dive into Companion. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. One of the core themes at the centre of this movie is one that does often come up when artificial intelligence and robots are living alongside humans, and that is what defines a life. We've seen it in Ex Machina and also in Be Right Back, the Black Mirror episode from Season 2. Iris was a model of a robot that was pretty much designed to be a companion to lonely people and those that were craving love but couldn't get it from humans. And with the way that she was designed, she wasn't aware that she was a robot due to the fact that she had an origin programmed into her of a beautiful love story from when she met Josh at a grocery store, even though that wasn't the case at all. So for the entirety of her existence up until that point in the movie, she believed that she was human, despite Josh being able to put her to sleep when he wanted and also her doing anything that he asked her to do. With Josh messing with her backend and enabling her to be aggressive whilst also overriding the blocking that was there which prevented her from being able to harm humans. Himself and Kat put her in a situation where they knew that she'd defend herself and kill Sergey after he was forcing himself upon her. Something which did ultimately happen and drove the plot of the movie forward. This is where the question of the value of her life came into the equation, and if she even had one. For example, if Iris was an actual human being, I highly doubt that Josh and Kat would have put her in a situation that enabled Sergey to do that, showing that in their eyes, Iris was on a level below them. Josh was going to shut her down because she was a robot, and that was the easiest way to deal with the consequences of the situation. However, she herself obviously believed that she was a human until it was revealed to her that she wasn't. She had feelings per se, even though it was made up of noughts and ones, and she believed that she cared for Josh. This was even though he treated her like garbage and viewed her as disposable. Something which was made clear when we saw that she was asleep in the car because it showed that he would have preferred to have done the drive without her bothering him, and also when he just sent her to sleep after they slept with one another and she was telling him how she felt about him. One thing that I thought was interesting was that Kat said to her that she felt as though she was replaceable by the likes of Iris. Josh and Kat obviously viewed Iris as disposable, but Kat was threatened by her because she felt like she was replaceable herself, even though she was human. So whilst she didn't necessarily value Iris's existence and life, it was enough to make her diminish her own and feel like she could be replaced by a robot. One could say that towards the end of the film, when Teddy gave Iris full control and the ability to be able to lie, think for herself, and make her own decisions without being told or programmed what to do, she then had her own life even more because she was sentient and able to act on her own without restrictions. But with the tech support guys coming round and saying how there were people out there that tied these synths up in their basement and did weird things to them, and also used them as a target for target practice, it showed that most people out there didn't see them as having a life of value, even though they resembled that of a human being extremely well. So much so that we didn't even realize that Patrick was a robot until partway through the film, and I think that was done to support that point. If they act like humans and we don't even know that they're a robot, surely that shows that there is value and a life that's there. Iris was programmed to feel emotions and also pain, so whether that comes from a brain or a CPU, does it make a difference? It makes us question whether that life holds value and how it compares to that of the main characters. Because she didn't have flesh, blood and bones, it made her be viewed as inferior, and like her life held no value. Another theme that was tackled in this movie was focused around abusive relationships and the hold that the abuser can have over the victim. In this instance, we saw that Iris was a victim of being emotionally manipulated, and we saw the repercussions of that, especially towards the end. I'd say that the whole robot was a metaphor and was symbolic of individuals that feel like they don't have a voice or a say in their relationship and are essentially trapped due to being told what to do by their partner. The moment that got me the most, and was a scene that I thought was actually quite emotional, was when Iris wasn't able to kill Josh despite the fact that she had full control and was able to harm humans. Josh had treated her in such an inhumane way and like she was disposable. In fact, the whole movie he was pretty much trying to get her destroyed. Yet even when she had the upper hand and the chance to end things for good, she had that memory of Josh, the fictional one, going around in her head, and that love that she had for him was at the forefront, something which shone a light on the fact that she was able to love and feel. It pretty much showed that she was more human than what Josh was. Her not pulling the trigger led him to go on a rampage and ultimately beat her to the point where he got her to say, "You're everything to me," showing just how much he craved that love and attention and the control, and that he'd do anything in order to get her to say it. Josh was a lonely, sad, pathetic man that wasn't able to be with a real woman and felt the world owed him everything whilst doing quite literally nothing, and he took that blame and anger out on Iris. With Iris telling Josh to go to sleep before putting the corkscrew into his head, the very place that he thought he'd be able to kill her, she stood up to her abuser, and we saw that she went on to live a life that she was now fully in control of. It really does make you question what makes a human and alive, because she was now in control of making her own decisions, but she didn't have the genetic makeup that we have. Alongside those deep themes, I'd even say that there was a light that was shone on companies being intrusive when it comes to our data and how they use it. When we saw the true origin story of how Josh and Iris met, we saw Josh just breezing through the user agreement, and I did feel like that was going to come back and get him, which it pretty much did. When Iris was taken away, the workers said how everything that Iris saw got recorded and it was able to be looked through when they took her in. Think, a lot of people were using those robots to get down with, so without being upfront and telling the consumers, that footage would be in existence and be able to get looked through without them ever properly knowing. Josh was tech savvy to a certain degree, and he didn't even know that those robots had that functionality, so I feel it kind of highlighted the immoral side of companies and the lack of transparency that's often there. My review of the movie. I thought this was such a good movie. The concept has definitely been done before with the likes of Ex Machina, Tim, and even the Black Mirror episode from season 2 called Be Right Back. But this one tackled the themes of abusive relationships and the question around the value of life and if a robot can actually have one head on. One thing that I thought was sublime in this movie was the pacing. It just knew exactly how the story needed to be told, right down to the last beat of it. It came in at 1 hour and 35 minutes, but I feel like I got such breadth of a story and a full plate to dig into. There was no fatigue when watching this movie, despite the fact that there was a lot happening and many deaths that were occurring. If there was one thing that I wish could have been different, I would have given absolutely nothing away in the trailer, because for the most part of the opening section of the movie, you're supposed to believe that Iris is a human. And there are the odd things that hint towards her being a robot, such as when Josh asked her what the weather was like, when she thanked the car before getting out, and also when she spoke with Kat and said how she felt replaceable. At that point in the movie, we didn't know that she was a robot, so if we didn't see that in the trailer, I think it would have hit a lot harder. Almost like how the reveal of Patrick being one was. I think it would have also supported the message of the movie even more, because she was just so human despite not being one. When it came to the performances, I thought Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid's chemistry was great. I'd say Sophie Thatcher as Iris delivered the standout performance in the movie. Her at the start of the film compared to the end showed the real range that she has and the whirlwind of a journey that the character went on. I thought she felt human at the start, but by the end, she was almost like a completely different character. I also want to give Lucas Gage his credit too. He's popping up in so much at the moment, and he's carrying the secondary role in movies and TV series so well. I'm hoping we'll get to see him lead something of a large scale soon, because whatever I've seen him in, he's not disappointed or failed to deliver at all. I'm not gonna lie here, I actually felt quite emotional during this movie, especially towards the end. Seeing what Iris was going through, with her not being able to kill Josh because of the love that she held, and the thought of her killing the person that he was to her in her memories was heartbreaking. I felt the pain that she was feeling and the conflict that she had. But seeing that impressive corkscrew that I couldn't help but feel like I wanted going through his head and killing him, the place that he thought would destroy her was fitting. Honestly, I can't recommend this movie enough. It's just an enjoyable watch that's filled with tension, action, humor, deep themes, and even a sprinkle of emotion. It's the perfect movie to watch this weekend in the cinema, so go out and watch it if you can, and then let me know what you think of it. If you want to see more movies from 2025 being broken down, then click on the card in the top corner. There's an entire playlist there. So far I've got Wolfman and Presents in there. Also, if you'd like to see what I gave this movie out of 5 stars, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's the place where I review movies that I just casually watch when I'm on the couch, and I don't end up making a video on. What did you think of this movie? Share your thoughts in the comments. As always, thanks for tuning into the video, and I'll see you in the next one.